Okay, so today I worked on squashing some bugs, of course, but also tweaking some systems and kind of making them a little more robust. So the first of which is this starting bonus system. Um, I gatekept which options can appear based off how many runs you've done. I mainly did that because I don't want players to be presented with these crazy options that they don't understand on their first run. And if they pick them, they don't understand how to leverage the advantage they've been given. And I just don't think that's a good, fun experience. If they lose 30 of their HP and then they die to the second enemy because they're still trying to figure out how the mechanics of the game work. So, as you're going up to your 10th run, you'll unlock them incrementally. And then once you've done on your 10th run, you'll have access to all of them. I don't know if that pacing will change, but anyway, buffed that system up just a little bit. The other system that I touched was the enemy attacking system. So now if the enemies are attacking and their attack intends to inflict a secondary effect, like, they're attacking and it bleeds you, or they're attacking and stealing your money. If you have evasion and you dodge, it won't inflict that secondary effect. The previous system didn't support that, so I had to buff that up a little bit. And this will also work on things like if they miss, if they're blind, or if you have buffer. And you buffer the hit that would have inflicted the effect, it won't inflict it on you. So it's good to have that hooked up. That's how I intended it to be, but didn't program it or make the programming flexible to include that. So that's the second thing. The third thing is a little bit different because I actually kind of minimized the system and made it less robust, but probably for the better. And that's the timeline system. For a while I was asking myself, does it really matter? And there were a buff and a debuff respectively, that nimble and slow, that affected the timeline, but it really only did something when enemies were faster than you, which some enemies were like the bat in Act 2, the vampire bat. If they're just fast, and when they swing with a D10 and they bleed you as well, and you can't do anything about it because they're faster than you, that's just not as fun. And I don't know, there just wasn't that much to play around with the system. So temporarily, I'm just trying it out this way for a little bit. I still have all the code for both nimble and slow at the ready in case I decide to revert it. But they are they'll no longer be present in the game, and the player will always go first. So the rogue will have all those things that make them forever go first, changed into something else. And yeah, so I did get rid of that system just because it wasn't very gratifying. Even though I spent a long time on it, I spent probably like 2 to 3 weeks adding it, and I was really gung-ho about, this is going to be awesome, it's going to really mix it up. But I found that it just didn't really fit within the context of what this game is. It's a single character dungeon crawly game, which if there were a party system, like, if there were a couple different characters that you controlled at the same time, if you controlled like a warrior and a rogue at the same time, the rogue is fast, the warrior is slow. Then the timeline, it gets a little bit more fun to play around with, and I think then there's more opportunities there. But in the single player context, it didn't really feel like it fit. So that's part of game dev, though, is spending 2 to 3 weeks on a system and breaking your monitor. I didn't actually break my monitor, but I was a little upset at times because of the amount of debugging and crashes that I had to fix. But part of that game dev is just scrapping, learning, and moving on. Maybe if I make a party combat game in the future, I can just pull from it. So cool to have that resource in the back pocket. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was working on today. 1 step backward, 2 steps forward, 2 like half steps forward. But that's what game dev is. And I won't leave you without a little fun, maybe a little fun thing here. Who are you going to call? I hope that joke lands.